so excited to be here today to share about sharing the Premier opportunity. And as I look out there, I see so many faces today. And each face represents a life that has been changed because you've been touched by someone sharing the hope of Premier with you. And ladies, when you begin to share about Premier, you begin to deepen relationships and you begin to change the lives around you. I'm going to start with sharing my personal story in Premier and how Premier has changed me. I began Premier over 6 years ago as an elementary school teacher. I have had 2 kids under the age of 2, and I had $75,000 in credit card debt and student loans. We were at a really lonely place in our life. We were really at a desperate place. So I began to do Premier, and I just started doing jewelry shows. I just held them consistently, and it was helping to make ends meet. Little did I know that 5 months after being in Premier, my husband would lose his job, and we would need that income more than I ever thought. So I did jewelry shows. I taught during the day, did jewelry shows at night, and I joked that my husband cleaned the house, including the baseboards, daily.
True story.
So after a full year of being in Premier and just doing jewelry shows, I had never sponsored a jeweler. I wasn't interested in doing that. I was just interested in what Premier could do for me. But I went to National Rally. The good thing about being in a lot of debt is you get a lot of Sky Miles. So we were able to go to National Rally for free that year to fly out there. And so I took my husband. We did not know one other person. We went and we sat in the top of the stands, and I took all the notes that I could. I think I literally filled up that whole entire notebook. And I was so excited about what I was learning, the information about Premier, and also the heart of Premier. I really got sold on what Premier was about. And I also saw that it could probably change our financial future. And I did want to be home with my kids, but definitely thought there was no way that I was going to be able to do that. And so the first week after coming back from National Rally, I sponsored my very first jeweler. And I began to build a long-term business. And not just a long-term business, but a life with Premier. I took 3 years of just building a great, consistent home show business and sponsoring. I was able to quit my job, and I also paid off half of our debt. So we're feeling like we were at a really good place. And in 2012, I got pregnant with my sweet baby Jules. And the pregnancy wasn't hard or anything. It didn't really change my business, but something happened in my business. I was doing the normal jewelry shows I was doing, but they were dropping like flies. Anybody been there? Cancellations, you feel me? Okay, well that's where I was. I was sharing the Premier opportunity, and no one wanted to become a jeweler, or so I thought. And so I told my husband, it was at the end of 2012, I told him, I said, okay, I think that we're done with Premier. We've kind of lived our life in Premier, and it's time to be done. Well, I have never really been through a valley in my business, so I didn't really know what to do. But my husband looked at me and he said, April, you love Premier. You love the people. You love serving others and the ministry behind it. But most of all, if you don't get to work, you're going back to being a teacher. So I had to make a new plan. And in January 2013, that was 2 years ago, I came to Rally pretty discouraged. But I decided to make a new plan. I looked at my goals, I looked at my business, and I called it, I was going to have a year of 100. And what that meant is I was going to do 100 jewelry shows, which really, really scared me. Okay, and I was also going to share the business with 100 new ladies. And so I set out to hit that goal. And the one thing that I will say really changed me was really more my attitude. I had to change that it was more about sharing the opportunity with Premier than worrying about the results, because I wanted to sponsor, but I wasn't really sharing with a heart to just share and get the information out there. And so I want you to look at that in your own personal business. Are you more worried about the results? Or are you more worried about what God has called you to do? So I'm way ahead of myself. Okay, so anyways, I completed that year. My business had completely changed, and I decided that I was going to do this one more time. as Lacey Bassford encouraged me to do. And so I had another year of the 100, and I completed 100 jewelry shows and shared the business with 100 people. And my business has totally and completely changed. So in 2014, we were able to completely pay off our $75,000 in debt. Yes, praise the Lord. And also, we have just seen our family change, our marriage change, and we have added 91 new ladies to our team in the last year. And if I would have quit 2 years ago, and I can look out to my blue shirt Premier Pearls people, and I think about the lives that wouldn't have been changed if I would have quit. So really, it's not about you. It's really about what God wants to use you to do. And so now I'm going to go into a little bit more of a practical viewpoint on how you can begin to sponsor. So for me, my whole entire first year in Premier, I did not sponsor at all. So maybe you're there. You've never sponsored before. I didn't even know how to share the business. The first time I shared the business, I said it cost $2,000 to get in the business. Okay? So obviously that's not accurate. So the first thing I want to encourage you to do is to learn to share the business effectively. You know, Andy always says, just do it if you don't know how. So I just did it, I guess. But anyways, so the first thing you need to do is you need to learn the business. So really quick, I'm going to give you my website that you can get a lot of information I'm going to share. And it's www.premier-pearls.com. And the password is Premier Pearls, one word. So the first thing you need to do is you need to learn how to share that. So what you're going to do to learn how to share that is, of course, you can talk with your upline, but there are so many YouTube videos out there, and there are so many conference calls that you can listen to. And what I did is I listened to a training over and over and over of someone sharing the business until I totally felt confident with sharing what the $395 stood for and also what the investment was, the jewelry. And so once you memorize that, you need to share with your husband, people in your household to get confident with it. So when you begin to share the business, you know what you're talking about. So you don't share it cost you $2,000. Okay, so you need to also be able to share it in a quick fashion. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fill your calendar with jewelry shows. And aren't we already working on that, right? Because we have some awesome specials to build up to that. So you're going to schedule as many jewelry shows as you can, and you're going to hostess coach in person. Now, when you begin to hostess coach in person, you're going to share the business. You want to share the business with every single hostess. So at the end of my hostess coach, I say, hey, Sally, I know you're not interested in what I do, but would you mind listening to how my business works for just 10 minutes? And nobody has ever told me no. And I say, I share for 2 reasons. The first reason is that we don't advertise. And so you can be a referral center for me. Maybe you know someone that I don't. And the second reason is you just never know when you might need some extra money. And so I began to share the business in 10 to 15 minutes. I go through this lovely brochure that Premier has provided for us, and I share with her how it works. Now at the end I say, Sally, I know before I started you are not at all interested in Premier. But now that you've heard the information, where are you on a scale from 1 to 10? And so if she says that she's a 3 or above, I'm going to talk to her about more information about Premier, how this could meet her needs. And I'm also going to send her home with this brochure if she needs to talk with her husband or somebody else in her life about this. And it has the exact information about how to go onto the website and sign up with my jeweler number and name. And I'm also going to offer her a gift card for $50 cash back if she decides to become a jeweler in the first 48 hours. So what this does is this draws her in, and I'm able to follow up with her to see if she wants to be able to redeem that. Now, if she's not interested at all, I am just going to ask her, would you mind just inviting some friends that you think might want to know about what I do? And so I encourage her to invite those to her show. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the jewelry show because, again, you're sharing with your hostess, and you want to share with people at your jewelry show. And so you begin that moment right when those ladies are walking into the door. And we've already talked a lot about this today, but just building that relationship with them, asking questions, getting to know them. You're also going to be listening because when they're with their friends, they're going to share their personal needs. They're going to say, oh, I really hate my job, or I really want to go on a family vacation. And so you're going to be listening to them. At the beginning of every show, I always open up by sharing a little brief story, not very long at all, and I also show a family picture, and I like to connect with the audience with that so they know I'm not just a salesperson, that I am a real person. And then I ask them to share a little bit about themselves. So they go around the room, they share their name, they share how they know the hostess, and what they would do with an extra $1,000 coming in every month. And you know, they don't come to the show thinking they need an extra $1,000, but if you ask them what they might do with it, it begins to get their brain rolling. So that's what I do in the very beginning of the show. Now, when I go to the jewelry, I'm sharing little sponsoring seeds as we go through the entire part of the entire show. So I'm at the jewelry part, and I might feature pieces in my fashion segment that come in the boutique. And I might say, ladies, when you become a jewelry lady, you're able to get this jewelry at deep, deep discounts. So I'm planting that seed there. And then I get to my sponsoring commercial. And this is my favorite part of the show. And at this point, I have an O on my purse game for opportunity. And I say, ladies, I have already told you about our awesome jewelry. I've told you about how to get it for free, but now I'm going to tell you about how you could earn income with Premier Designs. Ladies, did you know that Plan A doesn't always work anymore? We need a Plan B. We need a backup for retirement, for kids' college, for family vacation fund, and hey, maybe you just like designer purses, okay? So whatever it is, you need that Plan B. And friends, do not let friends work at Kohl's part-time, okay? So I'm going to tell you how you can make $50 an hour working your Premier business. And I don't have my big money. Okay, so at that point, I do big money, and I have my big money that I also have on my website, and I bring up a volunteer. So I bring up Sally, and I say, okay, Sally, we're just going to go through a month in her business, and I'm going to show you what it's like to make about $800 a month just by working 12 to 15 hours a month. And then I go through big money. And if you don't know what that is, you can, again, find that on my website or ask your upline. So at that point, I go to my next letter with this S for survey, and I'm wrapping up my show. I pass out my surveys, and I walk them through it. It's really important to walk your customers through the survey, and the main one that I'm going to focus on is the question that says, if you are interested in any information about the Premier Designs opportunity and would like the text about it, please check yes. Or no, it does have a no. Okay, so anyways, I collect the surveys after that, and as they're shopping, I'm going through the surveys, I'm scheduling jewelry shows, but I'm also looking for those people who check that they want that text about Premier. And so I go to that person and I'll say, hey Sally, I see that you checked that you would like the informational text about Premier as a business. Why don't you go ahead and get your phone out, and I'm going to text it to you right now. So in my notes section of my phone, this is what I have, and it's all on my website, so you don't have to write it down. Hi, it's April, the jewelry lady. Here is the YouTube video about the Premier Designs business opportunity. It's just under 10 minutes long. If you're able to listen within 48 hours, you will receive a free clip it from me. Just send me a text letting me know that you watched the video. And so, hey, they might be doing it for a free clip it, but I'm willing to pay $6 to get the information out to them. And so I literally send it to her right there, and I say, Sally, check your phone and make sure you got it. And I do this because I have sent it to the wrong phone number before. So, and that was not a God moment. They didn't send back and say they were interested in Premier. So as they're going out the door, I just say, hey, girl, remember to send me a text when you listen to that video. And so when she sends me back a text saying she listened, I send her back a message, so glad you took the time to listen. Here are a few questions. 1, what was the most interesting to you? 2, on a scale from 1 to 10, what was your interest level? And 3, would you like to meet for coffee to hear more? Of course, I want to be able to meet with her in person, but as Lacey shared earlier, you can't always get them to meet in person. You need to share in a convenient way for them. So if they share that they're a 3 or above, I call them and I say, hey girl, I got your text and I just wanted to know what color clip it you wanted, because you know I got to know that. And so I began that conversation with them to talk with them a little bit more about their interest in Premier. And if they don't, I'll send them a text back that says, what color clip it would you like? So if they do not respond, because some people just don't respond, they're really busy, I say, hey, Sally, I just wanted to remind you to listen to that call about Premier to receive your free clip-in. Or would you prefer to meet in person and upgrade to a $25 gift card? And you know, I've found a lot of ladies are interested in that, and I have met quite a few ladies because they didn't get a chance to listen to the call. So my goal is to get this information out to as many people as possible, and that's really the goal, is to just share and to leave the results up to God. Our goal in Premier is not to force people to sign up in Premier. Our goal is to share Premier and let God do the work. So my goal at every show is to share with at least one person or more and every hostess. So ladies, if you're doing 25 shows a year and you're sharing with every hostess and at least one guest, you're going to share with 50 people, which is in turn going to mean that you're going to sponsor. And if you do 50 shows a year, that means you're going to share with 100. So you just have to be willing to get out there, get out of your comfort zone, and begin to share. And follow-up is the key. You have to keep in touch with these ladies on a regular basis, because ladies don't always sign up immediately. You have to make a list of everyone you share with, keep notes on them, and keep relationships with them. One great way is social media, building those relationships, getting to know their families through that. Also, sending them emails about the specials that Premier is offering, and there's a great one to follow up with right now, and also Premier or specials you might be doing. And every 6 months, I got this from Penny Lacey, and I love it. I send them a little message every 6 months and say, hey girl, are you ready to get started? Because every 6 months, people's lives can change, and you never know the circumstances that are going on in people's lives. Remember, the only way to begin to change your business and your life and the lives of the others around you is to start today. You need to practice sharing your business. And Lacey gave you a really fabulous challenge, so I'm not going to do that. But make sure to get out there and share. And it's what makes you become very confident in that is if you do it over and over and over. And it doesn't mean you're looking for results. It means that you're just sharing the hope that Premier has given you. Has Premier offered any of you hope?
Yeah.
Don't desperately seek, but intentionally share the hope that Premier has given you. Not only will your life change, but the lives of so many around you. Have a great 2015. Thank you.